Hi everyone, my name is Elena and I am Deputy Voice Manager here at Leicester Students' Union. And today I'll provide you with a quick overview of student voice. However, let me start by thanking you for joining us today, and I hope that you're here to find out a little bit more about student voice at Leicester Students' Union and the work that we do for you, and the work that you can do in getting your voice heard in relation to your education. In a normal year, you would be attending your lectures and your seminars in teaching rooms on campus. Following a lecture or a seminar, you would be very likely to talk with others on your course or your seminar group about how you found the seminar or the lecture, whether you understood the material that was delivered, whether you found it interesting, whether you feel motivated to do something more for the next assessment. You might discuss the approach the tutor took in presenting the material, or even the speed of delivery, even the amount of content that is on the slides. In a normal year, it would be easy for you to ask around and find out how your peers are going to address the next topic for an assessment, or how you should prepare for the lab or the seminar task that you all have to do for the next week. In a normal year, all these conversations might have taken place over a coffee in Percy G building or in the library coffee, or whilst walking from one teaching room to another. This is not going to be a normal year. Yes, the university has promised a blended learning approach they call Ignite, where you will find a mix of both face-to-face and online delivery learning. But it's still uncertain what proportion of teaching can be delivered face-to-face, and clearly social interactions will be more restricted, particularly when the government rules change from one week to another. What is clear is that you'll be more likely to spend time learning on your own this year, with less opportunity to have those informal learning discussions that we've just talked about. Some of you will no doubt thrive in this new learning environment, and others among you may find things so easy or may struggle to adapt with it. But don't worry if that's you. One thing I can say is that this is new for all of us, students and staff alike, so you don't have to worry. You're not the only one. And there'll be plenty of support available, both here at Students' Union and within your academic department and the wider university. Those of you who are returning students may have previously heard the Students' Union is telling you all the time that student voice is very important. In these difficult times, it has never been more true. Not just in some abstract way in which student views should generally be listened to and acted upon. In this new environment that we all find ourselves in, your Students' Union, your academic department, and the wider university need to hear your view because it's vital to ensure that you and your peers get the most of your education and have the best experience possible. So, what exactly is student voice? Well, student voice can mean many things to many people. The definitions provided by the Quality Assurance Office says that student voice is an entail of engagement of students in shaping their studies and the context through which they can express their views, needs, and concerns. It puts students into working relationship, including but not limited to partnership, with policymakers, providers, practitioners, and other agencies, and challenges organizations to respond appropriately to the issues student voice raise. Now, that is a mouthful of words. And there has been an increasing class sizes and pressures in the teaching staff in the past 5 years or so. And the feedback data is used to enable staff to monitor the student experience as the face-to-face interactions become less practical and less safe for the time being. One of the most important aspects of student voice is the provision of feedback to your department or to the wider university. The university should, and does, want to seek feedback on student experiences and needs. Doing so helps them to improve the academic and administration that they're providing and helps translate their services into a better learning experience for you. So feedback could be delivered through survey responses, input to student staff meetings, student campaigns, activities for your elected student leaders, such as the XU execs or your course in your department reps, other volunteers like student leaders, peer mentors, or equality and liberation champions. The university and your department, together with the student voice team in the Students' Union, will try to engage you in discussions around feedback data, as well as supporting students to be the voice of their peers, as opposed to just being a consultant. And we'll try to provide you with opportunities, often through module or end-of-year surveys, for you to shape both your curriculum and the academic policies that affect you and future students. Over the year, as well as the end of the year, surveys will be delivered to you for just about every module. You'll also be likely to be asked to engage with surveys from the library services, IT services, career services, not to mention a wide range of different surveys that ourselves, Students' Union, ask you to complete. Yes, I know, death by survey. But student voice is more than just completing endless surveys. The presentation today will aim to provide you with an understanding of what we do as Student Voice team here at Students' Union, and how you can get involved and talk about what is important to you. The feedback from those endless surveys can present only so much of the actual lived student experience. And there are many other ways for you to get involved in improving our student experience, your student experience, and getting your voice heard, whether that is by being a course rep or a department rep, member of the student network sitting on student council, an equality and liberation champion, or simply by submitting an idea through the union idea system. So I hope you'll be enjoying today's presentations, and we'll start with academic representation, followed by equality liberation champions, student council, scrutiny and democratic procedures, and then we'll have a short introduction on the executive officers and part-time officers.
Hi, so my name is Isaiah. I'm the Academic Representation Coordinator at the Students' Union, and I'm going to talk you through the academic representation system that we run with all of the departments at the university. So first up, we're going to look at the structure and how we actually run the academic representation system. So it has a system within the SU with SU staff, and then a system that we support of elected representatives. At the very top, you have the education officer, so in this case Adnan, who kind of looks over the whole system, as well as 40-ish department reps, so 2 per department. The 500 course reps we have, which is 1 to 3 per year per subject. So in the case of medicine, that's 2 per year, and in the case of allied health, 1 per year, as well as the support of myself as academic representation coordinator and Elena as the development coordinator and deputy voice manager, and our part-time student staff. So first we'll go through what a course rep is. So they represent the views of students on their course to kind of put their voice forward in meetings. These are the student staff liaison committees or the student staff committees, depending on the department. They specifically liaise between the student body and university staff to discuss the course and academic matters that can be improved to change the overall student experience at the university. They do this by basically being the point of contact for students in their cohort to raise any concerns at meetings. So this is gathering the views of students, but also just being somebody you can talk to about any issues, which they can then take forward to these SSC or SLC meetings to raise these concerns and work towards having them resolved, or to sort of communicate with staff outside of these meetings to pass these issues forward. In terms of what they actually look at, it's things like general academic issues that affect a number of students usually. So things like clashes of assessments, lecture content, so whether there's information that's unclear, if there's any other resources you would like to be made available to you through your Blackboard, things like this. But they don't particularly help with personal issues or things that aren't academic. So if it's only affecting you, or if it's to do with something like housing or societies, it possibly should go through a different route, which our advice service help with and your department help with as well. And then you have department reps who kind of oversee the process of the course reps, but also attend the learning and teaching committees, which are department and college level meetings that discuss things like course content and the creation of new courses, what's happening with exam boards and the kind of more overarching issues of the university, and conversations that happen there. So they help develop curriculum and assessment changes, but also support course reps in their department. So this generally involves attending meetings and providing sort of a student voice in those meetings for things like curriculum changes and new courses. That might involve gathering information from students or just gathering it directly from course reps. They are expected to be knowledgeable about what's happening in their department with SSLCs and the course reps in particular, so they can help feed that back to those meetings. The department reps tend to be less involved with students directly, but they are still there to help support the system as a whole. So in terms of the training and the benefits that our academic reps get, it's very straightforward. So course reps have 3 online training modules talking through how their meetings work, different communication skills, how to gather feedback, with department reps having all of those, and then 1 extra one talking specifically about learning and teaching committee. They also do online training and have access to other online training through Educare. So all of our training is online, but through a separate platform, which includes GDPR training, which is compulsory unless you've already done it for your course, just to make sure that they know how to handle data when gathering survey feedback and things like that. We also run briefings before the first SSLC, which runs through what happened the previous year, NSS data, helps them build an action plan of what they're doing. And then we also have the Student Leaders Conference this year on the 24th of October, which runs through various sessions to do with leadership skills. There's some liberation sessions, things like curriculum and grassroots activity skills like chairing meetings, and things directly related to student leader roles. On top of that, they get a wide variety of experience that works in their benefit, but also as part of the training, to do with negotiation and conflict resolution, public speaking, decision-making, problem-solving, various other communication skills, both with students and staff members. They effectively get the benefit of improving academic experience as a whole at the university, which is the thing that is most important in this system, is that we are trying to improve student experience. So they will have the skills to help take issues forward or comments forward should you want them to. And they also, from that, gain experience attending these formal meetings. So in terms of the changes academic reps have made, a lot of them are similar across departments. So we've had a huge number that have improved access to past papers and mark schemes or extra revision sessions, changing the way that examination feedback is received, including sometimes improved turnaround time or more consistency between markers. We've had earlier releases of timetables, module lists, reading lists, all kind of things like that. Extra careers workshops and talks. Specifically in medicine, we've had involvement in the COVID-19 curriculum changes and how the year structure is working, as well as changes to things like bursary access. And then for allied health, we have a lot of things to do with student mental health provisions, specifically for allied health students, and the improved room access, so making sure they have rooms that are fit for what they need, depending on what lectures they're in. So it's very varied across the university, but because they work within a department, they're very specific to your subject area. So while we have a huge number of reps elected in our spring elections for medicine, we still have all of our first year open and 1 fifth-year position, as well as I think we have most allied health rep positions still open. So if you're interested in getting involved and having a chance to represent the student voice, we run our election in October, so nominations are open from now until the 4th of October, with the election itself taking place between the 9th and the 11th. You don't have to run a campaign, but you just sort of have to nominate yourself and write a manifesto. That's a couple of hundred words if you would like to. All of this can be done through the Leicester Union website. We are leicesterunion.com/voice, and the links are also on all of our social media. If you're interested in running, go ahead. It's a really good thing to do, to be involved with making active change in the university.
Hi everyone, my name is Malak, and I'm going to be delivering the next presentation, which is on liberation. So before we kind of get into what we do at Leicester, I just wanted to give a quick introduction as to what liberation actually is, and what it means to us at the University of Leicester SU. So liberation is one of our core values as a union, and that means that we prioritize representing students from liberation backgrounds. And we have 5 liberation backgrounds, or 5 liberation groups at the University of Leicester. So we have Black, Asian, minority ethnic students, which we call BAME students, disabled students or students with access needs, students from the lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender community, otherwise known as LGBT students, trans and non-binary students, and women students. So in all of the work that we do as a union, we really try and prioritize representing students from these 5 backgrounds. So who manages liberation? We have 2 full-time members of staff that manage liberation. Obviously myself, I'm on the right. I'm the Democracy and Liberation Coordinator. So I oversee liberation alongside my colleague Tony, and I also oversee democracy. And so that's all of your elections and representation, networks, council, which Ian will be talking about in a bit, and all elections that aren't related to course reps. So that's the work that Asaya and Elena do. And Tony is our full-time exec officer for liberation, and he is essentially responsible for representing all of our liberation groups, and working closely with our liberation officers to run events and campaigns for students who fall within those groups. And your liberation officers are Neve, who is your accessibility officer, Janine, who is your BAME officer, Nick, the LGBT officer, Charlie, the trans and non-binary officer, and Dan, who is your women's officer. So how do we do liberation? I've mentioned that it's a priority, but how do we actually ensure that it remains a priority within our union and within the work that we do? So firstly, our exec officer team run a range of campaigns and events that are related to liberation. Of course, I've just mentioned Tony, and all of the work that he does is related to liberation. But our entire exec team run lots of events relating to liberation. And some of the examples that we've had recently of some of the work that they've done is our education officer doing a decolonize the curriculum campaign. Our sports officer last year did a lot of work on sports inclusion, and our president last year did a lot of work on student sex worker solidarity. And in addition to our exec officer team, we have our part-time officers, and some of those are our liberation officers that you saw in the previous slides. And the part-time officers and their networks are a team dedicated to representing particular groups of students. So all of our part-time officers represent just a specific group of students and ensuring that their needs and their voices are represented within the union and within the university. We also have equality and liberation champions who embed liberation into our academic departments. So I'll be talking about them in the next slide. And our liberation strategy sets long-term goals for the union. So that's something that I work on, and our student voice manager, Ian, and then Tony, our liberation officer. So liberation networks, there's a few ways in which you can get involved in equality and liberation work within the union. And one of the ways in which you can do this is liberation networks. So we have 15 networks in total, and Ian will talk about this more when he talks about council and networks. and there are 5 reps on each network. And your role in the network is campaigning and also representing the student voice at Student Council. To run for a Liberation Network, you need to self-identify with that network. So, for example, if you wanted to run for LGBT rep, you would need to be part of the LGBT community. And our elections for these positions open in October if you're interested. And there'll be more information about how you can find out more and get involved at the end of this presentation. Next, we have Equality and Liberation Champions. So we recruit a minimum of 2 Equality and Liberation Champions from each department, and they're very similar to course reps. So you would be going to a lot of the same meetings. It's the same, you're representing your students within an academic department, just like course reps do. But as an Equality and Liberation Champion, you would just focus on the needs of students from liberation backgrounds and issues relating to equality and liberation within your department. So whilst, for example, course reps might talk about timetabling, you wouldn't really focus on something like timetabling unless it was an issue for a particular liberation group on campus, or within your department rather. And some of the work that Equality and Liberation Champions do, there's a lot of things you can work on really as an ELC. But some of the stuff that happened last year was a campaign was launched within the criminology department to look into the BAME attainment gap. In the geology department, our ELCs ran LGBT inclusive staff training for members of staff within that department. And in the ELCs within English, ran a panel event for women of colour within literature. And if you're interested in this position, applications are open now and they close next Friday. So you have around a week and a half to apply if you're interested. And again, of course, at the end of this presentation, we'll have some links for you to follow if you're interested in learning more. What are the benefits of being an ELC? So as an Equality and Liberation Champion, you develop a wide range of transferable skills. Campaigning, public speaking, communication, leadership, and time management. As an ELC, you work with a really wide range of people. And that's particularly good if you're looking to develop your communication skills. So you work with, obviously, academic members of your department, you'll work with course reps and department reps, and because you're working with academic representation, you'll also be working with my colleagues Asaya and Elena. Of course, you'll be working with me and Tony as we manage you jointly, and you'd also be working with the part-time officers and the exec team on kind of larger events and campaigns. You get the chance to meet and work with like-minded students. So of course you won't be necessarily on campus this year, but you still get the capacity to network with students and to build rapport and friendship with them. The position is fully accredited, so we do recognise and reward you for the work you do, and the accreditation can be used, you can put that on job applications and on your CV when you graduate and you begin looking for jobs, and we provide you with full training, and we train you at the beginning when you're first recruited, and we also provide you with training throughout the year. And also me and Tony are always on hand to support you. We come to all of the ELC meetings that happen, and we're always there to mentor you and to support you. And it's also a here recognised activity. So again, it's something that kind of employees recognise and the university recognises. So getting involved. If you'd like to get involved and you'd like to learn more about being an ELC, head over to the SU website and follow this link. And you'd get basically the full job description for becoming an ELC, along with the link to the applications. The applications close on Friday, the 2nd of October, and then after that, myself and Tony will begin a shortlisting process. And if you have any questions about any of this, then send me an email. That's my email right there.
Welcome to everyone who's joined us for this session that will, for the next 10 to 15 minutes, focus on the student union networks and council. If you are interested in representing students, organising events and campaigns, whilst gaining valuable professional skills, then a student union rep position might be the one for you. First, a brief overview of who we are and what we do as a students' union. Our mission statement includes that we are seeking to become an empowering, innovative and inclusive student-led union, championing your interests and providing a community that is home away from home. Student voice is a crucial aspect of this, ensuring that we are listening, acting and empowering student leaders to make positive change for students across their student experience. Our student voice team, who you can see here, work together to help that students are able to have a voice. They oversee the supporting and empowering of over 500 representatives each year, ranging from course reps, department reps, part-time officers to our student union reps. One of the key activities that we deliver is networks or student council. We're going to spend a bit of time now talking about how they work, the difference they make, and then outlining how you can get involved. So networks. Networks are small groups of 6 like-minded students who are elected at the beginning of each academic year as student union representatives. The networks are campaigning groups seeking to make positive change to the experience of the students they represent. As part of the campaigns, the networks may run events, workshops, and conduct research to understand more about the students that they are looking after. They meet monthly during term time, with meetings taking roughly an hour in length. Networks work on the principle of sharing stories and experiences and then agreeing where you as a group can make a difference. Initially, you'll be asked to talk about the challenges you and others have faced, and then from this, 2 or 3 themes will be drawn up and agreed, and then action plans are developed. As the year progresses, those actions will be reviewed, next steps agreed, and as changes are made, new themes will be added. It is a really simple yet powerful way of making positive yet sometimes simple changes that could affect students' experiences across the university. We have 15 networks in total, each representing a different portion of the student population or core activity that impacts on student experience. Malik has already talked about the 5 network and liberation groups, and to become part of these is a requirement that you self-identify within the relevant group. These networks are BEM, LGBT+, trans and non-binary, women's and accessibility. In addition to these networks, we have a further 10 networks, and these include international, interfaith, education, RAG sustainability and volunteering, and students with caring responsibilities. The remaining 5 networks are creative, wellbeing and community, union development, commuter students, and mature students. The key thing is really to think about which of these you may wish to join, and we'll talk a little bit more about how to pick later on in the presentation. These networks then all come together to form student council, with the part-time and full-time officer also sitting as full voting members. These meetings again take roughly an hour and meet once a month during term time. And at the meetings you would discuss, debate and vote on policy-based, resource-intensive or controversial ideas that have achieved 20 likes through our idea system. We'll talk more about the idea system in a few minutes' time. If a proposal is passed to council, it becomes policy for the union for 3 years, and then we'll work with the networks and the students who brought the idea to implement or make the change. Policies can be focused on what the union should believe in or lobby for, as well as what campaigns and what events we should be delivering. Student Council also receive updates on the work and progress of the executive officers, finding out what they've been doing, what campaigns they've been working on, what actions they've taken, and what they've been doing on your behalf. In addition, regularly there's mini workshop sessions that usually last about 20 minutes and focus on a particular project that union or university are working on. This could be to do with personal tutor systems or university strategy, liberation strategy, a wide range of things where your input moulds the work on this subject. So if you're thinking the student union representative is for you, as with all the other roles within Voice, if you do decide to become one, then there's a wide range of benefits that you'd get. First of all, it is an opportunity to make real meaningful change to the experience of students. As well as this, through doing this, you develop a wide range of transferable skills, problem solving, public speaking, communication, event organisation, to name but a few. And the other thing that student union reps in the past have commented on is that they get a chance to meet and work with like-minded students. We accredit the work that you do, and full training will be provided with access to additional development training throughout the year. And as Malik said earlier, it's a here recognised activity, so at the end of your studies you'll get a separate record of that you have been a student union representative to sit alongside your transcript. So how do you go about becoming a student union rep? First of all, pick your network, and we'd encourage you to simply think about what do you care about the most? Is it volunteering, or which group of students do you want to represent and make a difference for? Where does your passion lie? And remember, the liberation networks, you do need to self-identify within a relevant group. Once decided, then put yourself forward. You do need to run an election, but this isn't as daunting as it may first appear. The key things would be to tell your friends, course mates to vote, utilise social media, and we'd ask you to write a short 200-word summary of who you are and one or two things you may want to work on, and that really is about it. We'll be on hand to guide you through each step of the way, and if you have any queries, email us at sucouncil@leicester.ac.uk. And nominations for these positions are now open, and you can go to leicesterunion.com/voice to nominate yourself for this or any of the academic representation positions as well. Finally, before I finish, a brief overview of the IDEA system you mentioned earlier. This is a system that all students can use to suggest or put forward a thought or an idea about any aspect of their experience. It could be big, it could be small. It is really simple to do. Just pop in a title and then a short description and hit the submit button. After this, the following process is followed. If it's a simple operational thing that we as a union can change, we will. If it's a non-controversial campaign or an event that we will put it live on our IDEA system. Students can comment, they can upvote it, they can put a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and if it receives a majority of 20 likes, then we'll pass it on to the relevant officer or network to implement. As mentioned earlier, if it's a bigger event or campaign or policy-based idea, then the only difference to the above is that it will go forward to Student Council, where student union reps will discuss and have a final vote, a simple majority, and then it's passed. And similarly to before, we'll work with the students to implement their idea. This is open all throughout the year, and even if you don't become a student rep, you can still use it as and when things crop up. Once again, to access it, go to our webpage, leicesterunion.com/vote, and then click on the ideas from the side menu. Finally, you can find out more from our website. Also keep an eye out on our social media as well for regular updates. Give an opportunity to answer any questions. And if you do have questions, drop us an email at su-voice@audi.ac.uk. Thank you for listening. This session is focused on Scrutiny Committee. If you like to ensure things are operating fairly, it is important to you that elected officers of the Students' Union are fulfilling their obligations to students at the University of Leicester, then this could be the role for you. Our student voice team, who you can see on this slide, work together to help to ensure that students are able to have a voice. They will see the supporting and empowering of over 500 representatives each year, which includes Scrutiny Committee. Scrutiny Committee is one of the most important parts of the Union. They ensure our democratic structures are open and transparent, whilst also representing the student body as a whole in ensuring our elected officers are being effective in their roles. In the next few minutes, we are going to talk about how Scrutiny works, the difference they make, and then outlining how you can get involved. So, Scrutiny Committee is a group of 6 elected students who, alongside the Union Chair, hold the executive and part-time officers account through sitting on scrutiny panels, discuss and approve the election rules and regulations, including for our executive elections, facilitate the operation of the Union's democratic structures, including Student Council and annual members' meetings. This includes keeping track of attendance, helping the Union Chair in the meetings, and ensuring that they are as accessible and welcoming as possible. So scrutiny panels are where we hold our full-time officers and part-time officers to account. And 3 times a year, the exec officers will submit reports detailing what they've been working on, the progress and next steps. And you'll be asked to review these reports as a Scrutiny Committee member. Then, in a meeting, you will as a group highlight those areas you wish to find out further information on, putting together a list of questions ready for the scrutiny panel. Each elected officer then attends a panel where you'll be given the opportunity to discuss with them their progress, ask their agreed questions, and find out their key successes and challenges they faced. Following this, as a group, you'll then produce reports on each officer, including the score. The report also identifies areas of praise and for development. Finally, you present these reports to Student Council, and a summary is published on the Students' Union website. So what are the benefits of becoming part of Scrutiny Committee? Well, you develop a wide range of transferable skills, including problem solving, public speaking, communication, and time management, to name but a few. You'll work alongside like-minded students. We accredit the work that you do, and full training is provided, including specific training on how to prepare for scrutiny panels. And it's a here recognised activity. So to become a Scrutiny Committee member, you do need to run an election, but this isn't as daunting as it may first appear. You'd need to tell your friends and other course mates to vote for you, utilise social media, and write a 200-word summary of who you are and 1 or 2 things that you would bring to the role, and that really is it. We'll guide you through each step of the way, and if you have any queries, email us at su-council@leicester.ac.uk, or visit our website through the Student Voice section and go to Scrutiny, and this tells you lots more information about what Scrutiny is and what you'd be doing if you chose to become a Scrutiny Committee member. Alternatively, if you wish to nominate yourself, you can do. These are open now, and you can do this by going to our main webpage, leicesterunion.com/voice. Finally, if you want to find out any more information, you can go to our website. Also keep an eye on our social media as well for regular updates.
Hello everyone, this is Mullock again, and I'm presenting the final piece of information for this session, and this is just a quick overview of your student officers. So in my presentation on liberation, I briefly mentioned one member of the executive officer team and your liberation officers. And we actually have 5 other executive officers who are Mia, who is your president, Adnan, who is your education officer, Carly, your wellbeing officer, Tony, of course, your liberation officer, Elle, who is your activities officer, and Hannah, the sports officer. And in addition to the executive officer team, we also have our part-time officers. So we have the 5 liberation officers that I mentioned earlier, as well as Bianca, who is the mature and part-time students officer, and of course, Jay, the international students officer. You're free to work with them and contact any of them anytime you actually need support or representation. The exec officers focus on quite broad topics. So, for example, education, whilst the part-time officers focus on particular student groups and particular student demographics. So, for example, Jay, the international students officer, is there to support and represent international students specifically. We also have a postgraduate officer that we will be electing in the next few weeks. So if you are a postgraduate student and you're interested in gaining some experience and representing your peers, then definitely consider running for the postgraduate officer position. Of course, on Monday, our Freshers Week begins, and we will have Fresher Meet Your Officer events on Monday and on Friday. So keep an eye on SU social media and on the SU website for more details as to how you can join and get to know some of your officers. They'll be having presentations, and there'll be an opportunity to ask some questions as well if you're interested in working with any of them. Thank you for tuning in. And yeah, a big welcome to Leicester Students' Union from your Voice team. And we really hope that we'll be working with some of you over the next year.